said that, but there we go. Right, let's have a look. Let's check we're live.
Yeah, we gotta get all these filthy jokes out before we go.
No, Dave, that doesn't happen.
We gotta do it. Are we live?
We're good. We're in, Dave. We are in.
Welcome.
Right. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Apologies, a couple of minutes late. Yeah. If you're on, do say hello. As always, on all the lives. David, great to see you on. Mark, of course, Mark's on. He's on every week. Yeah, great to see you guys on. Do give us a little thumbs up or a little emoji or a little hello, whatever you want to do to say hello. Even Dave's here today with his nice shiny slick back hairstyle.
Yeah,
I think it's Disney Prince, mate. Is that the style today?
This isn't Disney Prince, mate. This is I desperately need a haircut. There's nothing I can do with it. But I just don't want to wear a hat on every live. Notice I've been wearing the hat a lot, so yeah.
It's okay, mate. You know, one day the barbers will open and you'll be able to get a cut. So, you know, or I can do it. I've told you I can do it.
Yeah, it's wait for the barber, isn't it?
Oh well, there we go. Anyway, Dave, what's today all about, mate?
Today's this is going to be riveting. Today, me and Andy are door-to-door salesmen selling you insurance. No, we're not. But we're going to talk about, perhaps one of the most important things, probably more important now during sort of, COVID times and stuff like that. Insurance is a biggie, and getting the right insurance for the right trip is really important. It gives you that peace of mind. I remember the first time I ever went to Everest Base Camp, I actually had it in my mind, like, do I really want to buy the insurance or not? And this isn't a recommendation, by the way. This is learn from my stupidity, is what I'm saying. And the night before I was due to fly to Lukla, I just bought it on my phone. And actually, when I was at Gorakshep and I heard the helicopter coming and going, I was really quite glad that I had the insurance. I don't know, because I was like, yeah, I'm covered. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. And then I'll probably talk about poles, gloves, boots, hats.
Exactly. You know, as always, guys, we always start off talking about a particular subject, but I know there's any questions, obviously drop them in the comments as always. We've had heaps come in during the week anyway, from the email I put out earlier and just general things that have come in. So we will answer those in due course. But yeah, insurance, as Dave said, it's actually, when you said that, Dave, around that you bought it like literally the day before. You know what? I've got a confession to make. I've done that like once or twice. I actually did it once when I was in Kathmandu, but don't ever do that. That was just me being a bit more chilled out, even more so than normal.
Well, when we first went, unfortunately, there wasn't like a Tuesday tune-in to kind of let me know the correct way to do it. So you kind of had to learn by my own errors, you know, and I was really glad. The only thing, obviously, I wasn't covered for like lost luggage or anything.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it than just the helicopter aspect. That, ordinarily it's like a full insurance thing. And also, Julie said you wouldn't be allowed to go without insurance, would you? You're absolutely right. We wouldn't allow you to go on the trek without it. But yeah, back in the day, this is pre-Evertrek.
We've really started this off making a good impression here, Dave, by insurance. But it's all good. This is back in the day. But yeah, it's interesting looking back, isn't it? And we want to learn from that. Like we've always talked about, just because you could get away with it like that, and maybe some people could. But yeah, with the way we run the trips now, when you arrive in, if we're talking about like Nepal, it's similar with Tanzania. When you get to the hotel and you have the briefing with the rest of the group and Anuj, who's our sort of operations manager in Kathmandu, he hands around basically some sort of forms where you fill in some of your details. Obviously, then we get your insurance details. So something to think of there. But right, insurance, so whenever you're talking about travel insurance, I mean, over the years, people have sort of skimmed on it a little bit, but unfortunately with high altitude trekking, it is a requirement because, you are essentially going to a relatively dangerous place. We talk about danger a lot, but it's very manageable. But, it's important to have that as cover. It is quite specialist. It's quite niche. So you can't really just have any old trekking insurance. It has to be high altitude trekking insurance.
Yep.
The big three companies, Dave, I know with me, myself and you. What's the company we used in the beginning? We don't
True Traveller.
True Traveller, yeah.
Was who we used. I've also see a lot of Campbell Irvin.
Yeah.
See a lot of those and policies come through. There's also a company called Dog Tag. I think Dog Tag, are they worldwide? Like
they're mainly UK. I don't know if they got anything in the US, but which is a good point actually, Dave. What you said there, because Dog Tag, another one that over the last sort of 12 to 18 months they've come about really, and we've noticed a lot of Evertrekkers, or some of them use them or have asked questions around them. Are they any good? We're always trying to get in with these companies because we'd love to say if we can give you guys some discount on the insurance, but Dog Tag haven't yet offered us anything yet, but hopefully in the future.
Yeah, and Big Cat's another one that you see on occasion. I think the one thing to be certain of, I'm going to try and find, because I know there was a question about insurance in the US. Now, that's one of those, I'm not able to pull any off the top of my head. However, I do know of a group of Americans that went to EBC. They all got insurance. So what I'll try and do is I'll try and reach out to them, and maybe we can put it out there as like a blog post, for international Evertrekkers who need insurance. So someone did ask it, and I'm not entirely sure. Suzette, I think it was Suzette Teal.
I think she's all the way from Florida, I believe.
Yeah.
So, good morning from Florida. Yeah, but that's beautiful there right now.
Yeah, and I think that the main thing is, so the first and the scariest thing to kind of get out there with about the insurance is whatever excess you pay for your helicopter evacuation. So it's always going to be a huge amount. So for True Traveller, I think it's £750 excess if you get a helicopter. I think Campbell Irvin might be a bit less. I think maybe about 500. And sometimes that can kind of put people off because it seems like a big expense, and it is. Yeah. But it's small in comparison to the cost of the helicopter if you don't have the insurance. So like the insurance, it does vary the cost of the helicopter. But say you got evacuated from Gorakshep and you have to go all the way to Kathmandu to go to a hospital, then, I would say minimum, probably about, minimum of around $1,500, probably more like $3,000 US, to kind of do that. So £750 versus sort of $2.5 grand. It's a no-brainer. Have the insurance. It makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, with high altitude trekking insurance, it is that evacuation, the helicopter evacuation is important. Unfortunately, going back a couple of years ago, this isn't something that we tolerate, but there's a lot of smaller operations, I would say, who used to take advantage of that, and you may have seen it in the press that there would be guides that would push the clients up. They would get ill, they would get flown out, and then they get a commission from the helicopter companies. Not great, and it give a lot of companies bad PR. Luckily, you're in the right place. That doesn't happen on our trips, and I know a lot of trekking companies that doesn't happen to, which is great. But unfortunately, Nepal is a third world country. You're going to be, they're going to do things maybe that would stretch the line a bit in terms of getting some additional cash. And unfortunately, that was something that, we found out, and we were like, can't believe people are doing that. Yeah. But unfortunately, that's what happened. But look, like you said, you're in the right place with us. As you probably guess, we like to go a little bit slower than even the slowest person, because there's not a race. We like to enjoy it. It is all about the journey on our trips. So we do take our time. But with insurance, it's just worth, those companies. If you stick to those companies, True Traveller, Campbell Irvin, Big Cat, Dog Tag, even if you're a member of the BMC, who I know provide high altitude trekking insurance, you won't go far wrong. And high altitude normally, do check. If you, just to pick one out of the, because I don't want to go too deep into every single company here. I think Lauren who's manning the comments and the phones, she has put a link there. We'll take you to an article we wrote a while back, which does go into more depth in terms of how to search for particular insurance. Have a look at that. But essentially, off the bat, let's talk about True Traveller Insurance, for example. If you were to go onto their website and you type in Everest Base Camp Insurance, for instance, it will have the exact insurance you need for Everest Base Camp, the same with Kilimanjaro. And basically it'll give in the little sort of TNCs, if you like, the policy TNCs, it'll say what height it goes up to. Normally, most companies will take you all the way up to 6,000 meters.
Yeah.
Now, if you go into Everest Base Camp, you're not going to get to that height, but it does cover you up there. That's like kind of the standard thing. So definitely something to keep a lookout for. If you're going higher than 6,000 meters, so we're talking about Island Peak, Mera Peak, Aconcagua, then you've got to, there's other insurance, but again, there'll be a policy that'll enable you to go on those peaks essentially.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, having the specific cover. So quite often you can get insurance policies that will cover you up to say 6,000 meters, but they need to be like specific. So they'll have like a trekking in Nepal, and the difference will be reflected in the excess. I mean, yeah, just to touch on what Andy said, about like unscrupulous operators and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely did happen, probably more so in the past, but yeah, it is. But we're very lucky. Our team out there in Nepal, like one of the guys that oversees our entire operation is actually on the board of one of the airlines that we use. So we don't have to sit in line. We don't have to kind of like go to them as a customer, so to speak. We ensure the quality of the of the service you're going to get like direct at source. So it is very good, very good. And the same thing is, well, like Kilimanjaro, that's a specific policy as well. So mostly it tends to be in the really popular areas, isn't it? And that you'll have like a specific policy, like even with the altitude and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Normally, the trekking companies, the insurance companies for treks like this, they've seen the questions that we would see, and which insurance policy do I need for Kilimanjaro, and they've kind of tailored that and had policies specific to those trips. So definitely, if you're having a little bit of a search on Google, if you've got any questions around it and like specific insurers, I mean, the ones we've mentioned, you won't go far wrong if you stick to them. But if there's others that you're looking at, do drop us a message and we can, give you our 2 pennies worth on if it's worth it or not. Because like Shona there, she mentions, do get your insurance in advance. Yeah, don't listen to me and Dave about getting it when you're there.
Yeah,
I mean,
in advance. Because it covers you for a lot of other stuff as well, like flight delays, flight cancellations, all the sort of stuff that can happen before you even step on the plane. So as soon as you book the trip, you should be booking the insurance, and normally it's valid for about a year, or even longer. So you can always speak to them and say, I'm going on this date. When should I get the policy? Always make sure that there's no harm in being covered if you're going to have to buy the policy anyway. And also, the older you get, the more expensive it gets. So get it straight away because you're only going to get older.
That's a very good point. Just while we're on here, Paul Wolveridge, your first Tuesday tune-in. Thanks for joining us, Paul, and anyone else who's on here for the first time. Always like give a shout out to people who are on here for the first time, and great to see you live as well. Obviously, I know all the regulars. I've seen all the regular names, but yeah, great to have you all on here. Yeah. But well done, Paul. Thanks for joining us today, mate.
Awesome. Bobby Bennett has asked an interesting one, which should mention about. So, if you have to come off, will the helicopter take the 2 of you off the hill? So, when we're talking about helicopters in Nepal, so although we talk about the cost of them and stuff, it's not like mountain rescue here in the UK. So they're not specific mountain rescue helicopters. Helicopters in the Khumbu are like taxis, basically. There's no roads. Who needs roads where we're going type thing. So they fly. And so the cost depends on where they've come from and where they're going to, and then how many people. So you pay about, say you were going from point A to point B, and they said that was $2,000 for the trip. Well, if there's 2 of you, then you can share the cost. If there's 3 of you, then it's divided 3 ways. So there has been occasions where more than one person has got in the helicopter and the cost has been split down to below the excess, which is great, but so the cost of a helicopter can be shared by all the occupants of the helicopter. The only thing I kind of would be cautious of is obviously sharing a helicopter with people I didn't know, like at least when you're going with members of your own group or people that then you can work the bill out between you. You don't want to be kind of doing that with someone that's maybe from Russia or something like that, because you're never going to be able to speak to them again, if there's a problem. And being the honest people that we are, we want to keep things like settled as quickly as we can. Yeah. I mean, generally speaking, we want to make sure that the helicopter guys it's important that they're paid sort of promptly, because we've got a really good relationship with these guys, and they do a lot of good for a lot of people. You know, these pilots and stuff that fly the helicopters through the Himalaya, you know, they could get a much easier job, just lower altitudes, less dangerous, you know, but they're in that helicopter, they've got oxygen in their nose, they're flying to remote areas, it's quite dangerous, and they do a good job. So in having the insurance in place means that when you get down as well, you can just pay them straight away. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, good point, mate. Good point. Well, look, there's a few other questions coming in, especially from the ones who sent in before. Yeah, just looking at Linda has asked, if you change your dates for your trip, will you still be covered by the original insurance, or do you have to pay again for the new dates? Yeah, it's a good question, and you know, I would reach out to that insurance provider, because I think they might all be different. I think because of COVID, maybe they may be a bit more flexible. I hope they would be. Definitely worth going direct to them. I mean, I don't see why not. If you're not, you know, if you just you know, bump in the trip, I don't see any issues with that. You know, in terms of having to pay for it again. Yeah, because it's a bit of a pain. And I think if you do it in advance, in plenty of notice. So if you buy new insurance like 2 or 3 months before you go, say, and then you know, maybe 8 weeks out, you because of, you know, there's lockdown, or trip gets bumped for whatever reason, then you should be able to move it. You know, I like to think now that insurance companies are a little bit more flexible. Let us know how you're getting on, guys, as well. If any of you have this kind of thing happening, any scenarios like that, it's interesting to know which companies are being flexible, which aren't. Yeah. Because obviously we want to feed that back to you guys and say, look, okay, they're being really good at the moment. They're looking after their customers. Might be worth going to them because they're a bit more flexible than say the other company. Yeah. Just something
Mark EV's raised a good point here, but once you get to Gorekshep, the altitude will limit the number of people that a helicopter will take. It's absolutely true. Yeah. However, there are ways around it. So, you know, if you've got a maximum of 3 people allowed in the helicopter at Gorekshep, and there's 4 people that need to be evacuated, generally what they can do is they can pick up the maximum, fly to Ferice, drop those people off, and they'll have about a 10-minute wait, fly back to Gorekshep, pick up the other people, then go back to Ferice, where the slightly lower altitude enables you to kind of get more people in. So just an example of how these helicopters work. I actually got a cheeky little lift on my last time. This was just, you know, I wasn't sick or anything. I just, you know, wanted a helicopter day. So I did. So I paid for one from Ferice. But the helicopter landed at Ferice with 2 tourists. Dropped the tourists. No, it went to Gorekshep first with the tourists. Then came back, dropped the tourists off in Ferice with a load of like fuel and other weights. Then it flew back to Gorekshep, picked up the evacuated casualties, I don't know, and then flew back to Ferice, put the fuel and the tourists back on, and then flew back down to Lukla, then came back, took us to Lukla, and then took the sightseers back to Kathmandu. So yeah, it is crazy, like the logistics going on. And that's why you're not allowed drones, you know, because they literally go back and forth. There's not a scheduled flight path or flight plan or times or anything. They are just zipping about the sky with loads. Sometimes they have also loads that, like, they might have a long line attached with like a giant pole or something on it, and a drone could easily get tangled in that. So yeah.
Nice, Dave. A few of you have mentioned COVID as well, and you know, it's one of the things we wanted to obviously talk about today. Unfortunately, I mean, not like we've talked about it loads over the last like 12 months.
COVID?
But
it's COVID.
Something that's floating around at the moment, but we thought we'd obviously with insurance. I mean, things have moved on a lot over the last 12 months. Any insurance company you go through, most of them are changing, so they're being a bit more flexible around COVID. But again, worth checking when you're getting it. I mean, essentially, if it's to do with a trip, you know, and I know a lot of you on here already have a trackers. For those of you who aren't, just to give you an overview of essentially how we kind of do it, if you like, is that if you're on a trip with us, and obviously with COVID and it doesn't go ahead, if we have to reschedule it, then there's obviously no costs for that. You don't lose anything. We can move you to another, you know, for free. So, you know, we're being as flexible as we can with that. So with that, it means you won't necessarily have to claim on your insurance, because if you do because of COVID, then it might not be covered. So it's again, because that was maybe insurance you purchased pre-COVID. But looking forward, most sort of insurance companies now will address that with regards to COVID, because they'll say, almost push back and say, well, how have you got on with the company you booked with, which, would be us. And, what have they done? For instance, have they rescheduled your trip? Because then obviously you shouldn't claim. So there's a few things around that. I know.
What was that about COVID, mate? I'm glad we're not in the same room.
I know, right? So it's one of those things that you have to sort of look at, and as well as that, do think about, because a lot of the issues we're finding is around the flights. So people's flights getting cancelled, people's flights changing, all that, which can mess things up. So maybe look at it again with regards to your flights as well. And Mark makes a good point there, Mark Von Rossum, who's on the live, in the comments, just about, booking, with reputable companies when it comes to flights. We're always saying, don't go through third parties now. I know you can get them a little bit cheaper, but when it comes to rescheduling flights, heck of a lot easier going direct with the airlines.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
In from the Lozatron.
Yes.
She's been doing a little bit of Googling, and I believe a US company, one to consider, might be World Nomads.
Okay.
It's not like a solid gold recommendation from us, because I think we haven't had a chance to fully investigate, but Lauren has come up with World Nomads. She's good, she is, isn't she? She just, I like what she's even done for me this week is, for the benefit of Dave, all questions today start from this line. So on the list of questions I get, I've got a nice clear line.
Dave? Why is that?
Well, because I have a tendency to go back to previous weeks and answer questions that have already been asked.
Very good.
Speaking of which, and we've had a question in from Lisa.
Okay.
I believe this was on the email, which has said, how did you manage the virtual ballet session?
It was very good. I mean, having a history of ballet dancing myself, it was quite easy.
Well, you 7 sisters, and I don't know if people know that. There was Andy's the only son, and he has 7 sisters.
7 younger sisters. So ballet classes weren't a stranger to me. But no, it was great. Ellie loved it. She had an awesome birthday, according to her, best ever. So yeah, it was fantastic. And just to reiterate on the email, made the most of it, made the best of it, and she loved it. But no, it was great. Yeah, you got to get involved with these virtual classes, right? When you're at home, you got to, even if it's ballet. I mean, it's not what I'd normally do, but you know what? It was brilliant. It was good fun.
Exactly. So I'm going to take this one, Anne, because it's from my good friend Lee. I hope she's doing okay.
Hey, Lee, how you doing?
So you've gone through the BMC in the past, which is good, and she's also a member of the BMC. Never had to claim from them. That's what you want, really, isn't it? Have you ever used them, and if so, how do they compare with others, or have you heard anything about them? So Andy, you mentioned them before, right? Earlier on, the BMC.
Yeah, BMC are very popular. It's great. I know a lot of Evertrekkers have used them. A lot of the groups I'm in externally to Evertrek, people with mountain guides and all the hiking and stuff, they all talk about insurance. It's always a question that comes up. And in terms of claiming with them, apparently they're really good. So I wouldn't. It's certainly one of those that we can, we'd sort of recommend, just from, like I said, I haven't used them myself, but I know a lot of people who have used them and they've had a good experience. So, you've got to kind of listen to that. So I wouldn't be put off them, Lee. Like I said, if you've used them before, claim for them, but happy days.
I've just noticed, so I had a missed call then, like in my pocket, my phone was buzzing, and it was John. Like, how does John know that 1 o'clock on a Tuesday I'm not on here? And now he's even in the comments now telling me to call him to talk about bikes. 100%, I'll call you, John. But come on, man, 1 o'clock on a Tuesday, you know where I am. So Linda Lilly has asked a question as well. If you have to change dates for the trips, will you still be covered by the original insurance? Have we answered that one?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I answered that one. Sorry, mate.
I'll ring John.
Martin McCollum has asked, does that include high altitude trekking, Andy, over 5,000 meters? Good question, Martin. I guess around, just to make sure the high altitude trekking is covered over a certain height. And just to reiterate what I said before, any insurance company you go to will have a certain height limit, essentially, and it should be 6,000 meters. Apologies. Some of them might have different. They might say 5,500. So do check, especially because if they do have that limit, is that do be conscious. If you go into Everest Base Camp and you go in to climb Kalapatar, that is 5,545 meters. So it's just over 5,500 meters. And I've seen before, we've had a question to say, oh, my insurance only takes me up to 5,500. So a bit of a pain. And I know it's only 45 meters, but you know what insurance companies like? You know, if you do claim and they're like, it happened over that, you know, so do make sure with, you know, when it comes to purchasing the insurance, it should be on the companies we recommended. You know, we know we've had loads of Evertrekkers who use them, we've used them, so we know that they're fine. But just wanted to point that out, guys.
Yeah, and if you are at the top of Kalapatar, sit on your rucksack, toboggan down as fast as you can to get to the.
Oh, you could do that, Dave. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, all you could do that. Yeah. Awesome. Right, I'm going to go for a question, Anne, that I reckon.
Okay.
I can answer. So, is it true that? Oh God, I've just read. How did I pick this one? Is it true if you wee in the wind, you get baptized? Well, I mean, I suppose it depends on your belief there, mate. Personally speaking, I think someone else has to be doing it, don't they, to be classed as a baptist? You can't self-baptize. So yeah, just be careful. So let's have a quick look now. I think we've got it quite a lot. So hi guys, do we recruit? So this is Adam on the website messenger. Hello, Adam.
Very nice. Hey, Adam.
Hi guys, do you recruit guides in country or from the UK? And is mountain leader, outdoor, FA, and DBS the standards you're looking for? Cheers. So we're very passionate about the way that we actually use our guides and all our support staff. We don't send any Western guides or any Western support. Occasionally myself or Andy have gone on the trips, but we're not there as leaders really. Well, maybe as like a liaison or something like that, but make no mistake, the local guide is in charge of running the trip and making the decisions and things like that. They are all sort of internationally qualified mountain guides, trained every year in lots of the, high altitude sort of medicines and first aid and things like that. Also, like one thing we're quite proud of is that our operational team over in Nepal, the Evertrek guys there, Suman was one of the people who first brought in the long line rescue from the helicopters.
Yeah.
So he's a very forward thinking guy, always looking at the best ways to look after people, the best ways to rescue people. And they're all Nepalese, sort of all Nepali, so might be Sherpa or Tamang, but essentially they're all Nepalese. And they're the best. They know absolutely everything. I mean, we could send a Western guide, but if a Western guide knows a lot about trekking in Nepal and climbing in Nepal, it's because he learned it from going to Nepal and being taught by the guys over there. So we go straight to the source. Yeah, no,
it's a really good point. And look, I want to point out as well that, great, Adam, that you're coming to us, mate. It's always looking for good guides, but essentially, we only use local guides. Yeah, unfortunately, mate. When it comes to what we do, and in the UK, we have it covered with regards to who we use for our training, our winter skills, our weekends that we run. But like I said, great that you think about us, and look, we'd love to have you on a trip anyway. If you're thinking about coming on a trip, but obviously wish you all the best as well. Jessica has asked, Jessica Jacobs, the company seem to give refunds due to COVID, the trip doesn't go ahead. Yeah, I think so. We're talking about insurance companies again. It's one of those most. I go back to what I said earlier about there's companies out there who have been a bit flexible around it. I think you'll have to check with that particular company if you cancelled it, because, and again, it goes back to, they'll probably push you and say, look, you can't claim until you've gone to your trekking company first to see if you can schedule your trip. I mean, when it comes to our trips, like I mentioned earlier, we're super flexible. You can move your date, you can pause your payments, you can do anything you want to do really with regards to rescheduling. We've tried to remove all the barriers from that. Obviously, you've got your lifetime deposits, everything that we're trying to be as flexible as we can. Because at the end of the day, if you're booking a trip with us, it's just a matter of time before you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Most people, and I know it's been really frustrating over the last 12 months, and I can't believe it's almost been a year since we started doing these, which was during the first lockdown.
Yeah, crazy.
Back then, we thought we'd be in the mountains again by now, but I can certainly see. I think we can certainly see the light at the end of the tunnel now. It's not far away. So the mountains aren't going anywhere. Everest is still there. Kili's still there. But you know, we'll be long. We'll be back.
Awesome.
That's for sure.
Andrew Scott's asked a good question.
Yep.
So he's now 75. Good on you, mate. Not sure if there's a cut-off point for trekking insurance. You hope not, as you want to get out there. You've done 9 treks out there since 2005. To be honest, Dave, last October, when I went out there with my dad, who was 62 or 61, there was a gentleman with us called Dave, and he was 72. So it is possible to get the insurance. It does cost more money the older you get. But I think it was he even told me, you know, when I said to him, like, you know, you're 72, like, what kind of drives you to kind of go out here? And he said to me, he said, oh, us oldies, we tend to rust out or wear out. And I want to wear out.
Brilliant.
You know?
I love that line. That's a great line.
Yeah. And I think that's absolutely true, you know, and if you're not worn out and you don't want to sit at home and rust out and you want to get out there, then 100%, there's no cut off. I mean, age is nothing, you know, there's no upper limit to what we would take, as long as the individual can get covered and also, you know, it knows within themselves that they're physically capable of doing it, which by the sounds of it, you are. You're probably one of the most experienced ever trekkers if you've done 9 treks out there. To be honest with you, you're probably a fountain of knowledge. And going back to 2005, you know, I'd love to sit down over a beer and pick your brain about what it was like back then. So, but mate, if you want to get out there 100%, we can make it happen for you, no doubt.
Yeah, nice, Dave. Nice. It's quite funny as well, just looking at Diane, over 60s, not 69. Yeah, Diane, how could you do that to yourself? Add in an age. But yeah, just to reiterate and sort of link into what Dave just said around, you know, if you are, you know, sort of 60 or above, some companies do get a little bit funny with regards to age.
Yeah.
And, you know, add a premium onto that. And, you know, these are insurance companies, they're protecting themselves, but I know it's really frustrating.
Yeah.
But one in particular, which is Campbell Irvine, seems to be the one that if you're 60, 65 or over, they tend to be really good for actually giving you insurance, or at least they'll be able to guide you. I know several people we've pushed to Campbell Irvine who've been able to get trekking insurance through them. And then they've managed to, and that's for all manner of trips.
Yeah.
You know, I think they're part of like a bunch of other companies as well. And I even think Big Cat are underwritten by Campbell Irvine.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so as always, these companies have probably got people, you know, underwritten by other companies. Essentially, they're, you know, they'll be able to find someone who can insure you. Yeah, so I hope that kind of answers your question around that, guys. Like I said, age is not a limit, as Dave said. You know, we don't like to say no. If you want to do it, we'd love to have you with us. Dave, I'm just going to answer one from Nick. He mentions about Nick Howard. Hey, Nick, join the late. I wanted to book a trip for SUPPPPEERRR later this year. If I need to rearrange for non-COVID reasons, can I do so? Yeah, absolutely. Any trip that you book with us, you can reschedule. I mean, we always, we say this on all the lives we've done. You know, we always try and offer as complete transparency. And we hope that's the same. So if you can give us a bit of notice if you want to move your trip, then we can do so. You know, as long as it's not like, you know, a couple of weeks before you go. You know, normally we're able to accommodate. It's not a problem at all. So just let us know, Nick. You know, obviously get yourself booked in on a date. Obviously get your place on there. You know, I think you're thinking ahead, which is great because, you know, as I've said once or twice, now is the best time to plan. You know, we've been stuck locked down for all this time. You know, when the shackles are off, we're all going to be, you know, up those mountains. So yeah, definitely get yourself on those dates, mate, if you want to join us. And winter's a great time to go.
Awesome. Diana just clarified as well that she was referencing potentially like Aconcagua being, you know, 7,000 meters. You know, would you be able to get insurance for that? The one thing I can say is that I know for a fact that people have climbed Everest, like many people have climbed Everest in their 60s, you know, and I think the oldest guy who might have been Japanese might have been in his 80s. So just based on that, I am very confident that there are policies out there that will cover you. The question is about, you know, how much they cost. That's really what changes, you know, as they perceive the risk factor to go up and they class age and, you know, age-related illnesses as risk factors. So, I mean, I was 30. Wow, I was 36 last time I went. So I was 36 when I went, and I paid, I think, £120 for my insurance policy. And my dad, I think, was, like I said, in his 60s. I think his was like 200 and something. So, you know, you can imagine if you went, you know, on a Island Peak, Mera Peak, that could become like 300-400. You know, if it was like Aconcagua, it might be more again. But yeah, it just depends. The only thing that changes really is the cost and potentially some exclusions if you've got a pre-existing health condition. But other than that, there are usually ways that you can get covered to do anything in this world. You know, there are companies out there that will accept the risk and insure you.
Yeah, exactly. It is just about finding them. Diane, certainly, if you do find any insurance companies that are kind of helping you when you're doing your research, or you find people and they're accommodating you for that, let us know, because then obviously we can feed it back to other people as well for that. We'll certainly do a little bit of a research for you, find out if there's any particular ones. But Campbell Irvin are really good like that, so I would reach out to them. I'm not sure if you reached out to them already.
Do you know what I've just realised?
Okay,
where's Ramona?
She's probably busy, mate, this week. It's a good point. It's probably the first live she hasn't been on.
It's only because I think Stefan Halls and Ramona, they're sort of linked. And I saw him pop up this question. I was like, good point. Where's Ramona? Anyway, so a good question. He said, your EBC trip is booked for October 2022. Will we be doing these talks the same time, or is it just seasonal times? Every Tuesday, 12:30 for the rest of time. So yeah, we literally haven't missed a Tuesday except for a little break over Christmas from like April. Was it April last year, March last year?
April, we essentially, during lockdown, the first lockdown, Stefan, we wanted to do these just to, we realized people had heaps of questions. We thought we'd be here for you guys, because that's what we are. We're here before we were able to go away. But yeah, we initially were going to stop them after lockdown ended, but because they were so popular, like we've had we're looking at the stats, a bit nuts now. We've had over 220,000 people on the lives accumulatively over the last like 9-10.
Don't remind me about that, mate. Don't remind me about that.
That's quite a big football stadium. So I was, so we realised people enjoy them. We hope you get your value. I know we kind of drag on sometimes, but we hope you find a nugget or two. So we're going to continue them as long as people enjoy them and are on. Long may they continue.
If it ever got to a point where it's just me and you talking to each other, and to be fair, we probably could do that without the cameras. But I think but if everyone does seem to enjoy them, and hopefully they're useful, and even if every 10 episodes you get one really good thing out of it that's going to make a difference for you, either going on a trip or make a difference when you're on the trip. We always say, like, knowledge is the best cure for fear. And a lot of anxiety some people have about going on these trips, the what if factor, and hopefully we just cover off some of those what ifs and make things a little bit easier. One thing, and I don't know if this is a good time to mention, but we are now we're going to be sending off for the second and final or final for now.
Final for now, I think, but because of production because you're talking about the jackets, Dave, right?
The jackets, yeah. So we're basically, I'm going to be sending over the list of current orders to have the next batch made, which means that if you guys were hanging on to kind of order one or anything like that, if you can get your orders in sort of ASAFP, the F stands for feasibly. Then you can we can get them done, because after that, because we have them made in bulk, because the more that we get made, the greater the donation, because goes to the guys and over there. So we're going to be sending off the next batch soon. So if you do want an Evertrek jacket, just a little reminder that all the profits from those jackets, they go directly back into the guys that make all of these trips, all of the things that we talk about, whether it's the people that pick you up from the airport, whether it's the porter that carries your bag, the guide that leads the way, the staff in the office that manage all of the flights, the flight to Lukla, and gets you all on there, and all of that sort of stuff. There's a lot of people that put a lot of effort in, and look, I know that they're great, really grateful for everything that the Evertrekkers have done. It's made a huge impact. So if you guys do want to grab another one, I think having 2 jackets is always better than one. Get your order in, because I'll be sending them off soon to get them made.
Yeah, nicely said. I think Lauren's dropped the link into the comments as well, guys. So if you do want to get one, jump on the link. I know we've had a bunch of orders come in over the last several days, so appreciate that. A couple more questions. I mean, we've been going 40 odd minutes now. If you 5-10 minutes left, you do have any questions, guys, drop them in so we can answer them. Stefan's asked another question there. When do we get formally introduced to our individual Trek team? It's a really good point. And those of you on the live, just give you a little bit of a sneak preview. Over the next 4 weeks, there might be something that is coming that might bring you a bit closer to your group. That's all I can say so far. But no, yeah, we got something really cool coming out in the next 4 weeks. But I don't want to kind of. What's that?
A giant tent.
A giant
hermetically sealed from the outside environment.
Very good. Yeah, but no, in terms of your group, yeah, a big part of what we do is and what we talk about is, you know, meeting your team, meeting new friends, you know, experiencing that. It's one of the big things of the trip. But normally, on a normal trip, Stefan, you wouldn't meet your team essentially until you arrive on your trip, just because of geography and, you know, and logistically how it works. That being said, you can jump onto one of our training weekends when we're able to run them. And then sometimes we do get people who are on the same group, and that's always cool because, you know, it's nice to know a person or two on your group before you go. Other than that, though, you'll meet them when you arrive, and you'll have a nice little meal together the first night, get to know everyone, you know, a couple of beers, let your hair down. And it's a really great feeling once you meet the rest of the group. But certainly,
also high altitude ever trekkers as well, isn't it? You can post in there and say like, hey guys, I'm going on October 2023, anyone else going? And I know lots of people have met up, and I'm pretty sure some people even on this live have like stayed friends for life now, you know, because I see the little like tiny little online, you know, communities and people meeting up and stuff like that. So yeah, it's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, definitely, exactly. Who was it they're asking there? What was it? Andy, where are the videos you did recently from Julie? Yeah, good question, Julie. There's quite a few of them. So we got over 35, excuse me, got over 35 new articles that'll be going up on the website very, very soon. It's just about putting them all on YouTube and the website. Also, as well, if you don't want to watch the videos, you can read them. So we're getting them transcribed. So yeah, take a little bit longer, but it won't be long. And I'll send out an email, post on Facebook when they're able to be viewed. What we might do is sort of stagger a few of them. So we'll put a batch up so you can have a look at those. There's some really good ones on there. Just questions that have cropped up over the last 12 months, and I thought, you know, we'll do a nice batch. Not all the questions that have cropped up on the lives. So it won't be long, and you'll be able to do those. And I think Karen has asked, the lives are able to watch afterwards. Yeah, I mean, well, the good thing with Facebook and all the lives is that they're always there. So if you want to watch them on Facebook, literally about a minute or two after the live finishes, Facebook saves it. So you can just go back and rewatch it if you want, and forward it and speed us up if you want, if you feel like we're taking our time. Or you can watch it on YouTube, or normally on Thursday we upload it to the podcast, Mountain Malarkey podcast. So definitely, you know, if you want to listen to us rather than watch, have a look at the podcast on Spotify or on iTunes or any podcast platform. I mean,
Casey Swift has asked what size are the females' jackets. So I've just been searching whilst you were talking, because I had like a size chart. I've just sent it to Lauren, and I'm going to see if Lauren can post it in the comments.
Okay.
So literally, I'm working Lauren quite hard today. So Lauren, if you are watching, I just forwarded you the size chart. I don't know if you can post that in the comments or not. It's something that I don't want to figure out, because you'll just be sat like this while I'm, you know. But yeah, hopefully that'll be helpful for you.
Yeah. Mark Jones, that's a really good question. And something that's been around this week, and I know it's been in the news, is about what do you guys think about what happened on K2? I took probably alluding to what happened before. So basically a team from Nepal, as well as NIMS, summited K2 in winter, the first to do that. Yeah. Some of them, I think him and a guy called Mingma. So NIMS and Mingma without oxygen, which is amazing in winter. But over the last sort of several days, I mean, me and Dave have been talking daily about it, because, you know, been following some of the guys on there, but the three guys have gone missing. One of them, John Snorri, who I've been following for a while from Iceland, and they were summiting K2. Unfortunately, I still haven't heard from them for like 4 or 5 days, which normally means it's not good, unfortunately. But that's part of K2. It's a beast. It's proper sad. You know, I've been following that guy John for ages, and you know, there's also a guy from Pakistan called Ali, I think his name, and he's kind of really well known in that neck of the in the Karakoram. And Dave, I know you've been following it as well, mate. Have you got any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I think we've been almost quite fortunate because a lot of the seasons and climbing seasons haven't happened, that it's put quite a distance between sort of now and the last time we heard terrible news about, these tragedies happening.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I think going to K2 to do a winter climb is one of those things that's it's inherently dangerous,
Yeah.
and these are the risks associated with it. But it doesn't make it any less sad and hurtful when you hear that, climbers that you've, aspired to sort of follow and been inspired by, have these terrible accidents. I mean, I'm still like, hoping and praying that, a miracle happens, but it doesn't look good. So sending out, all my thoughts and prayers to those guys over there. I know it's very difficult, but yeah, it's one of those things. Unfortunately, I think it's K2 and it's K2 in winter. So
Yeah.
it's one of those really, it's inherently dangerous and very, very, very risky. So hopefully though, that, some positive news will come out from the mountain, over the next few days, but what that'll be, I don't know. But it's great. I mean, it's sad. I just, I've seen the helicopters are doing stuff and they found tents and things. I'm not sure if that's from their camp. But I think if you guys are following it, like, was it Alan Arnett's website?
That's it. Yeah, he's brilliant.
It's a pretty good source of news and stuff like that. But the one thing I wanted to say as well, because Lauren's sort of elbowing me in the ribs virtually, is that Lauren will Tracy, can you message us on Facebook and ask for the size chart, and then Lauren can send it to you directly. But do message us just so we don't forget to send it to you, because we have quite a lot of replies to get back to. But drop us a message on the Facebook page, and Lauren will sort you out with the size guide so you can get your jacket ordered.
Yeah, great stuff as well. Just a couple of comments from Lee, I think, mentioned about groups and things like that. Yeah, I think one thing we can do, Lee, I don't know if, maybe a bit of a recommendation. I know you booked in on a date that hasn't got anyone else. They normally, pretty decent sized groups now, especially with all the people rescheduling because of COVID. But if you are in a group by yourself, I mean, I've trekked on my own to Everest. I've trekked in groups. And, it is a different experience. There's pluses and minuses for both. Depends kind of what you want to get out of it. But if you want to join a group, we can always move you to a group that's got people. Just to put that out there if you want to, and you don't want to wait for people to book in. Just an idea, mate. Just there might be, get that positive energy and meeting people, because I know you will. You're never on your own on these trips, really. Even when you're booked in on your own, you're always trekking with other people anyway, because of where you are. But otherwise, we can do that for you, Lee. No worries at all. We want to make sure you have an awesome trip. It's we talked about last time, and I don't know if any of you have listened to the Mountain Malarkey podcast episode we recorded, which was all about why, in terms of why we go, why we take on these challenges. And always think about that. What you want to get out of this trip, and then if part of that is you want to be with heaps of people and you want to experience that, make new friends, connections, whatever, then look, we'll help you do that. That's what we're here for. So just let us know.
Yep, I did see that Karen wrote. Corrected it now. I was going to say, where's Audi? But Audi's India. So I see your phone had a bit of what do they call autocorrectile dysfunction. Is that what it's known as?
We all do that.
Happens to us all from time to time, Karen. The autocorrectile dysfunction. But totally fine.
Yeah, great stuff. Okay, well, Dave, we're coming towards the end now. I know we've covered a lot of different questions. Any sort of final thoughts, mate, on insurance? Anything?
I think, it's like what we say. It's like a condom. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Make sure you get it and have it there for peace of mind. Always best.
That always comes out of the wallet, doesn't it? I know you've used that over the last, I can't remember, once or twice. I'm not talking about condoms now. I'm talking about that analogy. But great, Dave. Yeah, nice. Great to see everyone on the live. Always some great questions coming in. Obviously, we know most of you. I know, obviously, from the UK, but all over the world, and it's a challenging time right now. As always, we're here every Tuesday. Trying to spread a little bit of positivity if we can during these mad times. But as I said earlier, light's not far away now. Those mountains are getting closer, so let's keep going. Another couple of months, I'm sure we'll be back in the mountains, or be able to at least look and have a definitive date. Okay, right, here we go. Hopefully, with the British government, they'll have a nice little roadmap for us soon that we can use, and we can make a bit of a plan then, which would be nice. But right, yeah, Dave, lovely. Thanks everyone, and we'll catch you next Tuesday.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, see you soon, guys. Bye.
Bye.